My name's Shelby, and performance is my business.
The original idea came from Jack Brabham, world champion, when he was racing an Alpine. Just thought that car needs more power.
Unless you were living under a rock in California, the whole Shelby thing was so in your face.
Nothing had any credibility without a big V8 under the bonnet.
There's an immediate correlation between the Cobra and the Tiger. If that's going to work in there, then surely we can do the same thing with the Alpine.
The fantastic people that were involved with Shelby. I mean, Ken Miles took on the project, worked on it at home.
The Shelby prototype was delivered to the Ryton Works, so my grandfather could see it for the first time. He hopped in the car, he told my Uncle Brown to sit next to him, and he told the chauffeur to follow them in the Humber. Well, after a short while, the Tiger disappeared over the horizon, not to be seen for some time. When he got back, he said, "Okay, let's make this car."
Roots were no stranger to competition. They'd had 3 years of running the Alpines there, so how much harder can it possibly be?
Shelby started off with a chassis coming from a race derivative car, and Roots used a chassis developed for a Hillman Husky.
Roots' obsession with the race car being like really close to the road car, that was one of its biggest limitations. And the truth is that Lord Roots didn't know that much about going to Le Mans, whereas Brian Lister did.
You were looking at percentage-wise, approximately between the 260 and the 289, a 30% increase in basic horsepower. But tunability of the 289 was far greater, which is why Carroll Shelby predominantly put all his assets into the 289.
The car being so much heavier than the Cobra, it was never going to trouble even with a 289.
I know Peter Proctor says that went to the test weekend, had all the problems, came back for the race, nothing had been fixed. Racing's a hard business. You let one little thing slip, it'll knock you down.
How it was presented in the Mans 64, I didn't have a hope, not even close.
We knew it was going to be a hard race for us. The big worry, I think, was the oil pressure. And of course, very soon into the race, number 8 had a big engine blowout, and we soldiered on till 1 o'clock in the morning. And we were down to 18th, and with a strong possibility of finishing in the top 10. I think we could have achieved that if the car had finished, but it was not to be.
The results from the Geneva Rally actually was our first major outing. We won the class and then we won the team award. It just showed the rest of the rally field that we were here to stay. We were going to really win stuff. And at last, Roots had got a car that was going to be really up there with the rest of them.
The new Mustang-based GT350 will compete against the E-Type Jags, the Sunbeam Tigers, and Corvettes.
To take on the Corvettes and the Cobras at all these great American tracks, Laguna Seca, Willow Springs. You only got to look through Dave Friedman's great photo albums, and there's a Tiger amongst all this exotica. And up the front, they were quick, out of the bag.
Doane Spencer, the car that he built, that was a very strong weapon.
For me, that's the sexiest Tiger of all.
In America, I think it was a very special car.
That was Carroll Shelby's catchline, unleash the Tiger.
Anything associated with Carroll Shelby, that was the real deal. I think they were judged to be a success, not least because the press loved them.
They are the natural competitors. The Tiger, rather than being a 1950s car, it seems to be a 1960s plus car.
Chrysler wanted to get into the European market. Roots needed investment. So they were natural partners for each other.
Once Chrysler had got involved, you knew the Tiger's days were numbered. They weren't going to tolerate a model in their range with a Ford engine.
A missile in a straight line. It's a good all-rounder and one to take the fight to the Cobras and the lightweight E-Tigers.
It's so obvious that they are the proper original things, and it's hugely special they're here. They're proper old Le Mans cars.
About 5.7 litres, titanium valves, special crank, produces around 600 horsepower and goes like a rocket.
Sunbeam Tiger. The Tiger is on the racetracks, and it's on the racetracks to stay in the classic car world.
When I went out to win, and I thought, this is the car for me.
It's not a poor man's Cobra. It's a Sunbeam Tiger. It stands on its own.